Today's lecture is all about emotions in conflict. Now, we first have to define emotion. Emotions can be defined as modes of functioning shaped by natural selection that coordinates physiological, cognitive, motivational, behavioral, and subjective responses in patterns that increase the ability to meet the adaptive challenges of situations that have recurred over evolutionary time. Now, emotions developed in humans so people could meet immediate challenges. An emotion is both an experience that we feel and who we are at that moment in time. We say, I am afraid, or I am elated. We identify so strongly with these emotional states that we cannot separate what we feel from who we are, at least at that particular moment. Now, the wise use of emotions facilitates the transformation of conflicts as long as you listen to what emotions tell you. In the same way that hunger alerts you to eat, emotions can alert you to unmet personal needs. Paying attention to feelings, your own and those of others, creates the ability to change your behavior and to experience empathy. Transformation of conflicts depends on empathy. Emotions are like water. Water that is dammed up with no inlet or outlet usually becomes stagnant, dries up, becomes toxic, or it freezes. Like water, emotions were designed by evolution to move through the body. We feel them, they change, they transform. Constructive conflict resolution depends on our ability to work with the transform emotion, not close off or repress normal human emotion. Approaches to emotions that are current and informed by neuroscience explain that emotions are both hardwired, that is the nature side of the argument, and also facing the nurture side of the argument. Remember that the nature side talks about one's genetic makeup or biological influences, and the nurture side of the argument basically is environmental influences. Now, these are adaptive to social and cultural influences. But the question is, how does emotion function in conflict? First, conflict depends upon enough emotional arousal to get the job done. Without enough energetic emotion moving us to engage in interaction, avoidance seems like an easy alternative. Second, emotional events trigger familiar patterns of responses. We realize when we are in conflict, we begin to sense something uncomfortable. We become agitated on the bodily level. This bodily response takes on a label such as certain emotion or feeling. Third, intensity of emotion varies through the conflict process. You may feel very strongly at the beginning of a conflict, then less intensely as resolution or process continues. Fourth, Individual personalities are built upon the blocks of emotion behavioral patterns. For instance, consistently high levels of joy or positive emotions often lead to positive social relationships and ease with people. Fifth, we experience emotion as good or bad, positive or negative, pleasant or unpleasant, and helpful or destructive. We humans evaluate our emotions. We don't experience emotions objectively from a distance. Not many people enjoy fury, resentment, anger, or fear. 6. We become emotional because something is at stake for us. Often, one person in a couple will say, "I can't discuss this while you are so emotional." Yet, when important identity and relationship issues are at stake, emotion is simply part of the picture. We can regulate our expression of emotion, but one should never require oneself or others not to feel. You could adopt a great new habit. Never again say and mean, quote unquote, "you shouldn't feel that way." 7. Maturity mediates strong emotion. Older adults may feel that less is at stake in conflict, since they report fewer conflicts than do young adults. Older adults even reported few negative emotions in conflict than did middle-aged adults. Now, in conclusion, let's talk about personal responsibility for emotional transformation. As we think about change, we often try to change the other person. This quote unquote change the other attempt usually yields little that is constructive. Sometimes we can change the situation. Finally, we can deeply influence from the inside out, only ourselves. Change in your interior communication or thoughts changes the entire system. Finally, working with strong emotions by understanding them, reflecting, choosing actions instead of reactions, and learning to express yourself precisely when you are feeling strongly. All this personal growth and responsibility leads to better conflict resolution. Radical self-responsibility and mindfulness mean we take seriously our own possibilities for infusing hope and positive change into the world. This is a lifelong work in progress.